right, I have to be honest. Crucible Arms here, and regardless of what you may have heard in the past, size does matter. So let's take a look here. Here's a Glock 27, which also could be a Glock 26, same form factor, just a different caliber. Here on the other end, the LC9, okay. Both of these guns are considered, subcompact guns. Good ideal carry guns. This was kind of the gold standard and still is in many regards for a long time. This is my personal carry, although I'm considering this one very hard at this point. But then we've got this size, and this is what we call the pocket pistol. And what's interesting is I've seen a lot of people try and compare the LCP to the LC9, assuming that the only difference between the two is the caliber. This is a 9mm, this is a .380. Well, obviously, there's a significant difference between the two when it comes to size. This is true pocket pistol, whereas this is a carry pistol or a concealed carry pistol. So let's take a look at the LCP .380, and again, this came out a couple years ago from Ruger and is one of the more popular handguns out there right now, selling like crazy. Barely a two-finger gun. If you had really large hands, this would be a tough one to carry. But, it's not unmanageable. You want to get a really high grip on it, get your two fingers around it. Dual action only trigger. It breaks nice and evenly. Bring it all the way back. Boom. And that wasn't the smoothest trigger pull on my part, but it's very manageable. Again, when it comes to triggers, I'm not a trigger snob. You have to get used to what it is that you're shooting, and in a dual action pistol you're going to have to take some time and get used to, or I should say a dual action trigger, you're going to have to take some time to get used to it, so you are going to have to practice with it. It is a hammer fire gun, as you can see there, dual action only, as I mentioned. It does come with one magazine. It is a 6+1 and again chambered in .380 ACP. This would be considered, comparable guns would be the Kel-Tec P3AT, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard .380. This has really taken off, and I think a lot of it, without trying to be sexist, is this is a great purse gun. Carries very easily, and I think a lot of women are comfortable carrying this caliber and this size of handgun. They also have smaller hands, so I think in general, it's easier for them to manage. Again, those are generalities. I know a lot of women that carry 1911s, so it's certainly not a requirement that a woman would carry a gun this small. However, from a concealability standpoint, it is generally tougher for women to conceal than it is for men because of the variety and styles of clothing that they wear. So the smaller, thinner, and lighter you go, generally the better for concealment in all circumstances, be it male or female. But I think women have fewer options when it comes to conceal, and so this becomes a really nice, a really nice option for them. I'm not going to get into stopping power a whole lot. You'll see a lot of arguments. People say, oh, a 9mm versus a .380 versus a 45 versus 10mm. There's pros and cons to all of it, but I can tell you what, the most important thing when it comes to self-defense, and this is obviously a self-defense gun, not a range gun, but the most important thing when it comes to that is the ability to hit your target, center mass. A 22 is plenty lethal if you know how to use it and how to shoot it. Can you be more wrong with a larger caliber? Yeah, you can. But again, if you miss somebody, if you can't handle a 9mm, you can't handle a 45 ACP in a polymer gun that's got a whole lot of torque and muzzle flip to it. It doesn't matter if you can't hit your target. I don't get as hung up on calibers as a lot of people do. A .380, it would not be my preferred, but I'll tell you what, I would rather have this as maybe a backup piece or a primary piece if I don't have anything else, if I'm in a self-defense situation. Because again, this will stop people if you know how to use it and how to fire it. So it's more about the shooter and the ability to shoot well than it is about the caliber. That's my opinion on it, and please don't do a bunch of hate postings saying I don't know what I'm talking about, because I think it is a matter of opinion. And you can certainly do ballistics tests that show that one caliber is more effective than another. My point is, any caliber is better than no caliber. That's really the point that I'm trying to make. So again, getting back to the pistol, polymer frame, steel slide, again, very well designed. It's ergonomically, I like it a lot. You know, it's got a thumb memory slot there for you. It's got a nice mag release that I haven't had any problems with hitting that. Other people have. It is a small gun. If you had large hands, I could see where you could accidentally hit that. However, if you did and it dropped out, if you had one in the chamber, it will fire. Okay, there's no magazine disconnect in this. In fact, there are very few safety features at all on this particular pistol, which again, you know, you're either going to like that or not like that. For me, in this style of a pistol, when it's this small, it is, you know, the biggest safety that you're ever going to have is right here. Okay, it's between the ears. But secondly, because it's got a very long dual action trigger, you've really got to be intentional about firing that. So you're going to be all the way back here before that gun goes off. So because it's a pocket pistol, I think that's really important. You don't want this accidentally going off. And if you are going to carry this in your pocket, absolutely you're going to want to carry it with a pocket holster. In other words, you're not just going to slip it into your pocket because something can get snagged here, something could go wrong, but you're going to want some sort of a holster that goes in your pocket that's going to cover the trigger and the trigger guard so that you don't have an accidental misfire. And I don't prefer carrying in the pocket anyway, simply because it's tougher to get out and it's tougher to be quick with in a self-defense situation. This would be more of an ankle gun for me, coming from an ankle holster, again, as probably a backup piece. But again, very well made, beautiful to look at. I mean, I love the way, you know, I love the design overall. But hammer fire, like we said, there is no thumb safety. The only safety is between your ears and the long trigger pull. Polymer frame, steel slide, I think, as I said before, 380. Sights, virtually none. Okay, definitely a downside to this. But what I'll tell you is this is a pure self-defense pistol. You're not going to take this to the range and try and shoot groupings this big, you know, an inch or so at 50 yards. You know, it's not going to happen. That's not the intent of this piece. So what you're going to do is self-defense shooting. You're going to do it, you know, within probably 7 to 10 yards, and it's going to be a point and shoot. And you are going to want to get your groupings down, but you're not going to do it through the sights. You're going to do it through good technique. You're going to do it through knowing how to bring the pistol out and knowing how to snap out, be in the right position, and hit center mass. That's how you're going to fire this pistol. That's how you're going to get good with it. But you're never going to be trying to sight things with it. If you do, this isn't the pistol for you. Again, pretty simple, right? It's got a nice slide lock. Okay, and these have all been safety checked prior to any filming, so I want to make that really clear. I always safety check weapons. There is no ammunition in the room at all, so please don't write a bunch of hate me's on that. But otherwise, you know, it's a very standard polymer pistol. Again, 6+1 here, nice lockback. It does not lock back on the final round. Again, it's a way to take cost out. You know, this is a 9.2 ounce pistol. And weight really matters as well as size, but weight really matters when it comes to carry, and so that makes this very desirable. You know, as compared to, you know, the Ruger LC9. You know, this is a 17 ounce pistol, so there's a significant difference between this and this. So it makes it much easier to carry. But you're also looking at a pistol that's going to run you about $300, whereas, you know, the LC9 is going to run you about $350. You know, Glocks, obviously, they're going to run you $500 and up. So again, if you're looking for a nice pocket pistol, you know, a 380 ACP that you can carry conveniently for the money, a lot of pistol. All right, so let's take it down. First thing I'm going to tell you, this isn't a pistol that you're going to enjoy taking down a whole lot. But on the other hand, you know, this isn't meant for going out knocking around in the woods, and if you need to, you know, quickly field strip it and oil it or something like that, you're going to be able to do that with a lot of full-size firearms. You're not going to be able to do that with this. You are going to have to bring a small screwdriver along with you in order to field strip it. But my guess is you're just going to field strip this and clean it at home after you've been practicing at the range. So what you do is you've got this little button right here, and again, this has been, you know, thoroughly safety checked. There's nothing in the magazine. There's nothing in there because I am going to take a little pressure off of this right here so I can pop this out. But you're going to put your screwdriver right under there, and you're just going to give that a little snap. There's a little spring in there, You get it past the spring, pull that out. Don't lose it. Another part that you're not going to, obviously you're not going to do this in the woods, so you don't have to worry about it. And this just slides right off. All of a sudden it becomes very Glock-like, right? Typical polymers that, in a typical takedown from that standpoint. Recoil spring and barrel, and there you are. You're totally field stripped. Again, very simple design. I mean, if you look at this slide, it doesn't get much easier than that. It's a hammer fire, so you're striking it there. Your firing pin's going to come out that end. Otherwise, it's basically just a mechanism for holding the barrel in place and allowing the slide to move back and forth. No block safety. So again, no safety features on this as compared to the LC9, which we've reviewed as well. That's got virtually every safety device on it that you can known to man at this point. So again, very simple, but again, well made. I mean, it's a significant gun even for its size and its weight. I mean, it is well designed. It's simple, it's straightforward, so there's not a lot to go wrong with it. And when it comes to a self-defense gun, that's important. You don't want anything to go wrong with it. So we'll slap this back together here, but again, it goes back together just like any other polymer type pistol is going to go back together. So let me get my fingers out of the way. There we go. And we slide this back on. And then you're just going to line that hole up, and you can see the spring right there, and so that's what the pin connects to. So you're going to want to take you got the pin here and you got the little indentation there, so you're going to want to get that in there and past that little spring, give it a pop, and you're back together. Just that simple. So very functional, very simple, but you do need to use a screwdriver, and you got to be careful. I like to keep my firearms in good shape, and you got to be careful that you don't scratch the slide up. And there's ways to get around that. You can tape it up as well if that's a big deal to you. Or, again, if this is just a utilitarian piece for you, you don't have to worry about scratching it up that much. But again, going back to what I've said before, for the price and for the size, I think you're getting a really, really nice pistol. There are a lot of people entering into this space with a lot of different offers around similar price points. I don't think you're going to find a lot that are significantly cheaper than this that you're going to want to own anyway. But this offering from Ruger is a very, very nice one. There's nothing, I like the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. I think that's a really nice pistol. The Kel-Tec P3AT, I'm not as familiar with it, but what I know of it, from what I understand, it's a reasonably good gun at a good price. But I think this has done a nice job of blending the price point, the functions, the features, and really just the design and the overall build quality. This is a very, very nice piece for the money. Granted, it's not a range gun, but let's go to the range with it and do a little self-defense practice and just see how she shoots. It's not too bad. $3
for 50, and that's $2 for 50. Shoot all the way forward, smack that. Like, let's say, what you got there? If it's jam, obviously it wouldn't work, but if
not bad. So there we go, the Ruger LCP. Again, purely a self-defense gun, secondary backup piece, and certainly not a range pistol. But if you're interested in something of this size, this weight, like I say, the Kel-Tec P3AT, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, you definitely should give this a look. It's a lot of pistol for the money. It's very, very well made, and I would recommend it for anybody that's looking for this. What does it come with? Comes with a soft case, comes with the pistol itself, obviously, one magazine. It does come with a base plate extension for the magazine, so you could get, you're certainly not going to get 3 fingers on this gun, but it's certainly possible to get a little extra purchase for that second finger. Again, it's going to add to the length of the gun, but this one is so small that I really don't think it's going to be that big of an issue for you. So, there you have it, the Ruger LCP. If you're in the market for one of these, I would certainly take a look. I appreciate your stopping by. I appreciate your watching the videos and hope that they're helpful to you. Go ahead and feel free to leave some comments on other firearms that you'd like to see or other types of videos you'd like to see me do. Again, Crucible Arms, thanks for stopping by.